Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. We're joined now by His Excellency Yahaya Bello, Governor of Kogi State. Good morning, Excellency. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Mr. Chamberlain, Makwe Ogun, and good morning, viewers.
Well, is the pressure the same compared to when you first came into government, into the office, and now that you're way out? Because, I mean, some would think, well, now governors are on their way out, taking things a lot easy, more or less on sabbatical. Can that be the case?
Well, I think the pressure is higher. First of all, before I address this, I watched some of the clips of this ASU federal government case, face off all this while for over 6 months now. And sincerely speaking, my heart goes out to Nigerian students, parents, Nigeria's future that is being toyed with today. The consequences is grievous. It's more than what we are fighting today in terms of insecurity, poor economy, and what have you, all underdevelopment. It is most unfortunate that we find ourselves in this situation. And I did implore both federal governments, ASU, and everybody that is concerned, and are really concerned about the future of this country, to please wade in and do something quickly, because time lost can never be regained.
You know what?
Especially for the younger generation and the future.
But with this call, I mean, isn't it all for the federal government to do, that they can just call the meeting and address this, as the ASU president has said?
It is not just federal government alone. It includes ASU and every lovers of this country. Not just federal government alone, including the media as well. And I think the earlier we stop playing politics with the future of this country, the better for us. And that takes me to the question about the pressure. Even from this ASU strike of a thing, it even gives mounts more pressure even on me.
Your
because
Excellency,
I am more concerned.
Just before you speak to the pressure, and I wanted just to keep that question in mind, 2 words which you have used have struck me. First, you say with those who are toying with the future of Nigerian students, and you also talk about playing politics. The question for me is, who is toying with, and who are those playing politics?
Nigeria's elites. Elites cut across board. Both those in government, the ASU themselves, they are. Sincerely speaking, I speak true to authority. They are. If we are serious, this problem will be resolved within the twinkle of an eye.
ASU has maintained that constantly, that, they are ready for talks. They are ready to, do whatever it takes to go back to work. But it does look like there's plenty of reluctance on the part of the federal government.
I am talking to both those in government today, those of us in authorities, and those ASU executives. If we want to solve this problem, we will solve them with immediate effect.
Do you think that
those executives and those that are made to handle this problem and solve it?
Do you think that those who have been given that responsibility by the government have shown sufficient good faith from what you have heard?
I know. Hell no. I'll say the truth. I don't think they are representing Mr. President well. President Muhammadu Buhari, upon return from his second trip after that, ailment in his first term, I could remember vividly when we went to welcome him, and we all sat in the hall. After exchange of pleasantries and what have you, he stressed the emphasis and the need for us to educate our people. Education, education, education. So it couldn't have been that same president that would be seated and ASU is on strike all this while. This is a man that so cares about Nigeria's education and even children during that lockdown. Children that are not in the school, they were being fed at home.
You're trying
But
to
that is what we are.
exonerate the president.
No,
but, I mean,
you see,
at the end of the day, if
yeah.
I mean, you're also you're holding executive power. If at the end of the day, if you're not satisfied with the results that those who are representing you are given to you, don't you? What do you do about them? Do you just keep looking at them?
Well, that's the difference between me and Mr. President. Mr. President have his own style of handling issues, and my style is different. I wouldn't sit down and allow things to degenerate to this level before I will wade in. But I am telling you the fact that those who Mr. President entrusted to handle this protracted, issue are not doing justice to it.
So, Your Excellency, have you, for instance, raised this with the president? For instance, to say maybe, Your Excellency, Mr. President, the ministers, assuming they were ministers of education and labor, they're not representing you well. Something is not going right.
Well, I have my own AOR, and
but you're concerned about this, as you said.
I am concerned, and at least for now, I have a state to govern. And you could recall that ever since I came into office, there's never been one strike any day by any of these institutions. And if you go to NYSC camps today, aside private universities, I think Kogi State students or graduates, constitute more than 40% of those in camp today. We solved that problem of ASU strike in Kogi State once and for all. And I expect government, federal government, to be decisive once and for all. And also, the leadership of ASU, the leadership, not the lecturers, the leadership of ASU should show good faith in solving this problem.
How?
They understand what I'm saying. So let's not go into...
How about us? We need to understand too.
See, in whatever you do, either responsibility or carrying out your duties and assignments, there must be human face. These are children that tomorrow, even if you don't need them directly, indirectly you need them. We can't have these children at home for 6 months and counting, and we'll continue to talk tough. 2 wrongs can never make a right. Government come, government will go. No government will solve all the problems at once. Even those of us that have been able to pacify our institutions and ensuring that academic activities go on smoothly in our states, it's not as if we solve all the problems. But we have executives that have human feeling, that really care about the future of these children and this country at heart. And then we collaboratively were solving our problems. No problem can ever be solved at once. As I'm seated here, as we're all seated here today, every day Nigerians go out to look for bread. So, meaning every day challenges and problems arise, and then we solve them.
The government says no work, no pay rule will apply. And they, ASU, of course, disagree with that. But because the minister says, well, Mr. President wants to punish the excesses of ASU. And then the question arises saying, look, ASU, there was an agreement in the first place. So if government wants to hold ASU accountable by ensuring that they don't go overboard and curb their excesses, who holds government accountable? Because it appears as though they can wake up and do whatever they like. They didn't fit or meet up with their part of the agreement, because if they had, ASU would not have gone on strike.
Federal government should come out clean and clear and show at what point the ASU are going overboard. That is number one. Hold them accountable very well, but the people should hold the government accountable as well. But come out very clear. When we came on board in my first term, and we did invited ASU because I assumed office when ASU were on strike. And they put the problem on the table. Then we reduced them into immediate, short-term, and long-term, solutions. We propounded, solutions to them. After the whole exercise, the leadership of ASU at that time, as it then was in Kogi State, made a statement that was political. And I knew he wouldn't, he's not in this negotiation for the good of Kogi students. And I made it very public and people knew. And I took an action. And then it stays. So at that point in time, the general public stood with me. So I expect federal government as well, not to be representative of federal government to be making certain statement that seems to be arrogant. I don't think that is representative enough of Mr. President and the government. That exact pressure even on me more and several other demands. Mr. Chamberlain and Maokwe, you see, I came into office at the age of 40. And politics, especially the way it is being played now, seems to be dominated by the older generation, especially at highest level. And it appears as if when one is going out of office, you care less, but I care more. I care more because of what we met, what we are doing now, what we ought to do, that I see that time will not be on our side, but needs to be achieved. The pressure of who succeeds me, the pressure of who will continue on this legacy, the pressure of the future of this country, my state and the country, is more on me. Today, Nigerian younger generation and youths, including women, look at me as a torchbearer in government today. And they are looking forward to which way to go. So it exerts more pressure on me.
Well, we'll talk about that, as we proceed. But my colleagues in Lagos, they've got questions for you concerning your concern about ASU as well. Go ahead, guys.
Yes, thank you, Chamberlain. Well, Your Excellency, it's interesting that you speak so confidently and so loftily about young people. I mean, all of us on this panel, share that sentiment. But you began by saying it's not only ASU or the federal government that has to deal with this issue. States have a function as well. You have spoken about what you are doing. I don't know if every state can say the same. I know that there are a good number of universities that are not under ASU strike, that are largely state-owned, universities such as the one of yours. So, what kind of intervention do you think state governors or state governments can bring to the table to help resolve this issue? Because it would seem like everyone has left this issue as a federal government ASU issue. Meanwhile, the universities are in the states and the students are in the states. There are those who will say that an idle hand is the devil's workshop. The students could be lured into things they don't want to get into. So is there a function for state governments or governors in an intervention that will help stave off, at least end this strike as quickly as possible?
Thank you. The state governors, through our forum, the Nigeria's Governors Forum, have been intervening from behind, from behind the scene, not necessarily coming to the media to, show the world how far we've been able to. I mean, we are talking to ASU and those that are concerned. There's an extent to which you will take certain responsibilities, else it will appear as if you have your own interest. Before you know what's happening, your ministers are quick to accuse governors, go and face your states, go and govern your states, and leave us to our own problem and what have you. So I think the NGF has been, making every effort to ensure that on behalf of all the governors, we, discuss with ASU and all those that are concerned. I think we're making such efforts.
Well, we hope that would be a little stronger so that the voice of Nigerian governors can put pressure, to use your words, on the minister and all of that. And speaking about the minister, what's your take on that conversation that the minister had with the government, that minister had with the media, saying that maybe the students should sue ASU, and the students are saying they're not going to sue ASU, they're going to sue the federal government. What's your take on that conversation?
I think the minister, Yahaya Adamu, should have been more serious than making such statements. He's a well-respected Nigerian that we all know have huge value for education. So I think he should have been a bit more careful about, such a statement. That is not sensitive enough. That is my own take.
Your Excellency, my own concern is, how you started off on the ASU conversation when you say that when you laid the problem at the doorstep of the elite, and the elite in this case may be those negotiating on behalf of the federal government, i.e. the labor minister who started off and the minister of education. When you say that they're playing politics, are you also insinuating that the problem is not necessarily about money, which government has said repeatedly that it doesn't have the funds to meet ASU's demands? Are you saying that money is not really the problem, that the federal government indeed can afford to meet ASU's demands, but they're unwilling to make the commitment?
Sometimes when you talk of money, naira and kobo, and you hear certain, figure, being displayed out there, especially about those in government, how much they've looted, some misplaced priorities up and down here and there, then you wonder, which money are we talking of that is not available? Or, like I used to say, and I will return back to my days of when, I don't know if I'm still alone, I think I'm still alone in this issue of, no corona, the trillions that were, spent in solving, buying nose masks and hand sanitizers. I think a lot would have solved this problem of this ASU wahala. But anyway, that is that. But I think it is not just one-off. Certain billions of naira that will have to be expended on a monthly basis. As a good manager of resources, you have to take a second look at it. And both parties, like I said, should come together and ensure that this problem is put behind us.
When you also say that you have your own style and were it your own decision to take, you'd have intervened such that the strike would not go on for this long. Are you also sort of accusing the president of failing to take responsibility in the event of the continuing failure of the education minister and the labor minister to resolve this?
I'm not accusing Mr. President. You see, Mr. President is such a person that will give you responsibility or responsibilities and leave you to it. Display or show who you are to Nigerians and let Nigerians judge. That is his own style. But that cannot be my own style. I will give you responsibilities, do that, carry it out, and if you don't do what you are expected to do, however highly placed you are or close to me, I will deal hell out of you. I expected that certain things should have happened by now. And let's quickly put this problem behind us. We can't solve all the problems once and for all. If those that are responsible to negotiate or discuss on behalf of government are not giving satisfactory, report, do the needful. And if those lecturers or the executives of ASU are not reasonable enough, show them the way out because of Nigerians, because of the future of this country. You see, individuals, both the minister or the ministers and these ASU representatives are not bigger than the whole Nigerian youth and the future of the students. So take a decision. It might be right, it might be wrong, but one decision has to be taken. And then let the education system flourish in this country.
Your Excellency, we're moving to security and all of that. So let me just ask this question relatively. Do you agree with those who say that the lingering ASU strike, with the students not academically or gainfully engaged, makes our security situation more vulnerable?
Of course, not just the issue of security of now, but of the future. Now, we've not seen anything yet. But looking into the future, 6 months. In fact, keep a child in a house, a child that is active, cage him, and ensure he shouldn't go anywhere or don't engage him. And then you see the amount of destruction, either in himself, on himself, or in the house you kept him. Not to talk of Nigerian youths or children that are so exposed to the world now, keeping them at home for 6 months, and we don't know, we've not seen an end to it. And we think we are comfortable, either as leaders or as Nigerians or as captains of industry in this country. It is if we said the security, we're toying with the security of this country, is an understatement, sincerely speaking. So it has a direct bearing in the current security and the future security of this country.
Your Excellency will explore the conversation around our security apparatus, or a lack of it, when we return from this break. Please stay with us.
Does your toothpaste give you complete fresh protection? New Close-Up Toothpaste Complete Fresh Protection takes care of your 5 important oral care needs. It gives you strong teeth, prevents tooth holes, cleans deeply, fights bacteria, and gives you fresh breath. Complete fresh protection from Close-Up.
I'm not stalking him. I'm about to serve better breakfast.
Buy any monthly data plan and get up to 5 GB free to use on social media. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Every morning is an opportunity to take your hustle to the next level. Every morning is one day closer to your ambition. So, make every morning count. Cup after cup, morning after morning. Start strong, finish strong. Nescafe.
Everybody loves massive discount because it either helps them save money or get more from their budget.
But sadly, every day isn't Christmas, unless like me.
You've got to have the Yahaya Thermocool Genpal Inverter Air Conditioner that helps me save 70% on electricity consumption. Plus, I enjoy multiple ACs even when on Gen. That's less bills
and more comfort every day.
So what will you do with your 70% savings?
Get the new Yahaya Thermocool Genpal Inverter AC and enjoy 70% savings on electricity consumption. That's less bills and more comforts. Yahaya Thermocool, always there for you.
Thanks for staying with us. Your Excellency, well, part of the conversation that the Nigerian Governors Forum had recently revolved around the economy and security, and along with other resolutions was a decision to have intervention with other stakeholders, federal government, and the rest of them. I'm wondering how far-reaching you hope that that conversation, especially around security, would go. What is the position of the NGF now? Hitherto, the NGF had been called, well, governors generally had been calling for state police and all of that. Is that something that is still in the works, or we're looking at other ways?
Well, there are times decisions are taken at the level of NGF, and not necessarily that everybody subscribe or will subscribe to such a decision. First of all, I wasn't in the last meeting of the NGF, and I've not really gone through what was discussed and the resolutions that were reached. But in terms of security, I have always said, and I maintain, that security is the responsibility of all Nigerians, everybody, not just federal government alone, states, local government, you and I. So, whatever decision that will be reached that will improve on our security is highly welcomed. But issue of state police, I'm afraid I don't think I will support it wholeheartedly for now, because we have not really matured politically, to be able to maintain state police. Some of us can be very ruthless or reckless when it comes to use of state apparatus. But, support system and collaboration, in forms of intelligence sharing, and pointing out loopholes or areas that needs improvement to ourselves and collaborating to solve the problem, I think I welcome it.
Why do you think this government has not been, some say they've not been ruthless with terrorists? Because at the moment, despite of the several orders we read and hear from the president to security agencies, insecurity festers.
You want to hear the truth?
Absolutely.
Okay. Man, it is unfortunate. It's unfortunate what is happening. But at the end of the day, people blame it on Mr. President, but don't blame it on Mr. President, because it's a long decay. It's a long decay that some people in high authority today are still handling issue of security politically. They are politicizing it. Both those in authority, in power, in opposition, and even onlookers. And even the security agents themselves.
You've always said
they are doing excellently well within the limit of their powers. But let me tell you the truth, there is still some lack of political will to deal with this menace.
When you say that they're politicizing it, I mean, it's not the first time that you've said it. You've said it before, and you've always given your state as an example where you are doing some work to ensure that bandits are cleared out. But in recent times, you have faced some challenges in the Ajaokuta area. There have been a number of incidences. You've also had cause to suspend the traditional ruler and give out warnings to other traditional rulers. But you haven't exactly been very clear on what you mean by this politicization. What precisely is the issue?
Okay. Some persons will consider firing that traditional ruler or any other person that is involved within the state will be considering the implication politically on him. Remember, that traditional ruler probably will have one or two people he controls politically within his enclave. He's looking at the next election.
You have nothing to lose. You're not going for another election.
I have election to execute. Even those who will succeed me. I need to deliver for my party. I need to deliver all of my, all the candidates who failed it, or who have failed in the next coming election. So it is not all about me alone.
Yeah, but
that is number one. Number two,
okay,
there are those who are high in authority, especially right now, there are so many people that are reaching out to me regarding that traditional ruler. Highly influential people. And I've asked the police, whoever comes for his bail, arrest the same person. If you can't arrest him for whatever position he's occupying, let me know. Whenever he's coming there, let me be there. I will make sure I handcuff the person himself and lock him up there.
What did you find out?
So now,
what are the accusations against the traditional ruler?
He is deeply involved in the crimes that fester.
Yeah, but some people will say that the rule of law has to take its place. I mean, has to take its course.
Of course, that is what we are following. Right now, investigations are still ongoing, and a lot are being revealed. So that is still the rule of law. Investigations are still ongoing, and so far so good, he is being implicated.
Are you saying by extension that other traditional rulers should be investigated across the country?
No, if you're not, if nothing, why should you investigate a traditional ruler that is maintaining law and order and peace in his own domain? But it is only when you are traced to any crime that I believe you should be brought to justice.
But Your Excellency, before you go to the second or third point,
okay,
why can't the president be seen or lead from the front just like this?
Who told you that Mr. President is not leading from the front?
So why do we still have several directives not being carried out?
See, sometimes when you're outside the government, you don't know the operations or what happens within. Issue of insecurity, Mr. Chamberlain, you can't really discuss it and exhaust it in the media. There are a lot that goes under that you can never come out.
But we see the results. For instance, the way you approached it.
Yeah.
We don't know the details, but they're seeing the results of consequences of actions. Why can't the same thing be done from the presidency?
Now, why don't you think that situation would have been worse than this? This Nigerian security situation could have been worse than what we are facing today. And probably because he's leading from the front, a lot of those worst calamities that would have happened to this country are averted. And federal government or Mr. President will not be in the media to be telling the whole world. There are certain things that are averted that if it is known to just 0.0001%, it will cause a lot of panic. You will not even be here in the studio. So,
but
you know, sometimes when there are security, situation, then there will be hysteria, a lot of outcry. But what goes under, believe you me, is a lot.
Because, I mean, it's never been heard in the history of this country where terrorists will attack the advance convoy of the president, attack the president's guards, threaten to abduct the president, which man, he said that's a joke taken too far. And then you see this kind of thing. Several directives are given to the military to clear these terrorists from their den. And Nigerians don't see the results from over.
It's unfortunate, sincerely speaking, it's unfortunate that Mr. President's convoy or the elite guard were attacked. But let me tell you, this is not the first time across the world. Presidents are being killed, even openly, shot at close range, and they are being killed. God forbid we will never experience that in this country. So what do we say about that?
Well, so, we're concerned about here.
Yeah,
because many think the results can be a lot better, especially given the president's pedigree. He's been at the highest level in military in this country. So many don't expect this kind of scenario.
Yes, out of 100 instructions given, if 1 or 2 are not carried out, probably for reasons
it looks more than 1 or 2 that are not being carried out in this case.
Reasons best known to them, I think we shouldn't just give it a low mark.
What was the other point you were going to
so
make?
many
Let me
that
quickly
are carried out, and we are enjoying the relative, security that we have today.
Well, I know that, when it comes to the issue of security, the results will vary. From different parts of the country, the results will vary. If you go to Zamfara, if you go to Katsina, the president's home state, the outcomes you get will be might be different. In Niger, Kaduna, and for the people whose families are still in captivity as a result of just taking the train, they certainly will have a different set of stories to tell you. But let me bring you up on politics. You have since thrown your hat into the ring. It didn't quite work out. Your party has since come up with its presidential candidate and has also come up with vice presidential candidate that has caused some amounts of furore, the Muslim ticket. And now within your party, it seems that there is some amount of disquiet as well. Some people are beginning to ask for the resignation of the chairman of your party. Do you support that?
Before I go into that, yes, security varies from state to state, region to region. It depends on who is in charge. That's why I said, don't put the blame on Mr. President wholeheartedly. Look, Maokwe, I wouldn't listen to the conversation of terrorists. I wouldn't know where they are. And the next hour, they will still remain there. And that is why I am handling the issue of insecurity in Kogi State differently. No politics, no grandstanding, no media show. But the result is there. So I expect everybody to do same. And that is why I have to now call captains of industry and the corporate citizens of my dear state and every other well-meaning citizens of Kogi State together that, hi, Kai, guys, we must fight this insecurity together. And we're coming up with a different template again now that will make Kogi State so hot for criminals. Already, as we're speaking now, the cockroaches and crickets are scampering for safety in other places outside Kogi State. So I expect all of these, my neighbors and others, to do same so that Nigeria can be secured. We can fight this insecurity without necessarily making so much noise about it. So that is that. Now, on politics, I thank God I have gone to I've thrown my heart into the ring. You know, the result has come out. Like I continue to say that I have learned a lot of lessons from that escapade. And thank God our flag bearer have emerged in the person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu Ashwaju. And deservedly, so be it. And I think the party is stronger. At this stage.
It's stronger.
Yeah.
I still want you to answer the original question, which is, I mean, the fact that people are calling for the resignation of the chairman of the party. First, do you agree with that?
I don't agree with that.
You don't think he should resign?
Why? What has he done?
There are those who say he should resign.
What has he done?
Okay.
And even those that are asking that he should be resigned, what is their interest?
No, they accuse him of high-handedness and a host of other issues. But within your party, they're saying that if the Muslim ticket is going to survive, there needs to be some sacrifice made to show that, you know, there is also some acceptance of, you know, to pacify the Christian bloc, even within the party.
First of all, those that are accusing him of high-handedness. You see, in this country, it is high time we have someone who instils discipline in us. We are a set of people, especially this crop of politicians that are exiting. Let me put it that way. They hate discipline. They don't like discipline.
Were you worried?
Once you have somebody who is going to instill that discipline in them, decorum, law and order, they don't like it. So I'm not surprised if such persons are saying such. That is one. Then, in terms of you know, his administration, I think so far he has taken up well. So we should give him a chance.
Well, there are also those who accuse him of bias. I mean, in the play up to the presidential to the primaries of your party, presidential primaries of your party, there was a lot of confusion leading to the now famous Emilokon outrage, you know, which was given by the.
Including we see you walking out of certain meetings too.
So that was also there as well. So even at that, you are still saying that he should stay. Is that correct?
Yes, that is part of policy. That is the beauty of it, and that is the lesson. Part of the lessons I have learned.
Okay.
If anybody should be talking of you know, bias, I should be the one to say that he's biased.
Fair
because
enough.
Why will he favor his colleague in terms of age? And then leaving those of us that are young, I would have said he's biased.
Who was his colleague? Ahmed Lawan?
No, I'm talking of
the flag bearer.
You know, the flag bearer. So
he wasn't speaking in favor of him, was he?
When politicians speak, then listen very well.
Okay, well.
So, let me tell you this issue of Muslim tickets.
Exactly.
You see, Maokpe, it's high time. Even the media should set the correct narrative. Today, we are living our lives. Some are big, some are small. Some are rich, some are not. It is not because Dangote is Dangote today. Dangote is Dangote today not because he is a Muslim. Or it is only Muslims that he surrounded himself with. You see, we continue to play this politics, you know, sentimentally. And we're where we are today. Muslim ticket. Who told you that tomorrow it cannot be Christian ticket? A lot of statistics have been reeled out about, as we are today, How many governors are Muslims? How many governors are Christians? How many deputy governors are Muslim? How many deputy governors are Christians? But does that matter? Religion is personal. It is personal to you.
You know, I'm smiling.
When you're bringing it to politics, let me tell you, it is just interest.
I was just going to laugh because you said that we should not be sentimental when you very well know that if there's anything politicians are good at doing, it's appealing to sentiment.
That is the lifeblood.
And that's basically what they've always done.
Then we shouldn't allow that.
If that is the case, I'm wondering how come it is that politicians are surprised at the the outrage that has greeted that, or the backlash that they keep getting for that, and trying to say it is the media, when it is something that they themselves have whipped up over the years.
See, let me tell you, the way we play it here, we are confusing and deceiving Nigerians. You see, the sentiment...
Let's get who the we is. Is that politicians or who?
Politicians and even media alike.
No.
Media reports what happens.
We report exactly.
No, exactly. You report what happens. I think Nigerian politicians should be more matured. We should take politics, religion out of it. Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu and His Excellency Senator Shettima is a perfect match, sincerely speaking. You have to have one-on-one with this, gentleman. And you know that surely we're coming up with a combination that largely Nigerians will be happy with.
Well, I guess when the campaign
if you take
starts,
it from Bola Ahmed Tinubu and then Kashim Shettima, we shouldn't. This is a complete departure. I will explain this in time to come. This is a complete departure from certain, happenings now.
Okay,
but we wouldn't know.
Perhaps when that time comes.
When the time comes.
There'll be a lot more questions, but as we wind down, one wonders how your party is going to fare when that time comes, when they go to Nigerians. Because, for instance, when you see reports as inflation ballooning by 170% in 7 years in the president's tenure, and then you see the unemployment rate spiraling almost out of control, the highest, they say, in decades, and narrowing it down to Kogi State, for instance, where you spoke about the pressure of who will succeed you. Performance may likely play a huge role. How is that playing itself out in terms of who will succeed you? Because you know that different regions saying, no, this area has had it before, so it should come to this other side. How are you handling that?
First, on the issue of the performance of the government economically, I think Mr. President or the party will have those who will go to give out satisfactory explanation to Nigerians when the time comes. So we'll leave that aside. But back to Kogi State. We have had a politics of tribalism and sectionalism in the past. What I did, and that had divided us largely in the past. When I came on board, I played my politics differently by ensuring that those who can do the job are hired. And those who are patriotic are allowed to serve and make input. And that has really helped us. That accounts for the successes we have recorded today across the length and breadth of Kogi State. Even one of my predecessors, acknowledged openly that all the past governors put together did not record half of what we have achieved today in Kogi State. So Kogi State have completely departed from that politics of tribe, sectionalism, and all that kind of parochial reasoning.
So that will not play a role
today, it
for
will
the
not
next
play
elections.
a role at all. Today, I have been able to mentor a lot of young leaders who are eminently qualified. Any of them are eminently qualified to take over from me, so as to ensure that the legacy of what we have put on ground are built on. And that qualities of inclusion, togetherness, and all the successes, continue. So whoever is going to bring that sentiment to Kogi State this time around, it will not work. Because the hospitals, the roads, the water, some are, since the existence of Kogi State, even from the then Kwara State or from the then Benue State, there are certain developments that has never been witnessed in all of these areas simply for whatever reason. But they are witnessing it today. And they say hell no to whoever is going to bring that sentiment again. So I will allow the people to choose whoever they feel among these patriotic young leaders I have been able to mentor in the States.
Even if the person is, what, not your preferred choice?
Look, Kogi State today, those that are at the helm of affairs, all of them are my preferred choices. All of them. Because we did all of what we have done together. So who will I choose? Who will I not choose? So the people will ultimately have their say when the time comes.
All right. I guess it's a fine place to leave it then. We've been speaking with His Excellency Yahaya Bello, Governor of Kogi State. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you very much, and thanks for this opportunity once again.
So there you go. That is it today for Sunrise Edit. Thank you all for watching. I know it's Friday. I'm Chamberlain, so.
Well, I'd hope that we'll be able to take a few meals, but then, you know, they just seek to bust my bubble. I think we can still acknowledge, though, that, Henry, we saw your mail, we also saw your tweets. Terese, Michael Ahua, Dr. Ipemosa, let me just go with that before I mispronounce his name. And Ejikeze, thank you so much for writing in this morning. And to all the other people whose tweets were sent in, thank you so much. I'm Maokwe Yusuf.
I'm Ayo Makinde. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a beautiful weekend ahead.
Yes, indeed. Have a pleasant weekend ahead. I'm Bukola Samuel Wemimo.